focusing on gaming. Swatting is when someone makes a call to a police department with the false story of a crime in an attempt to draw a large number of police officers to a particular address. Police arrived at the home of Andrew Finch. As instructed, he put his hands up and moved slowly, but police fired a single shot in fear that Finch may have reached for a gun. Finch was unarmed and died at the hospital.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
Reuters reports bitterly cold weather will usher in the new year for much of the United States east of the Rocky Mountains, bringing low temperatures to the Midwest, making travel difficult and putting a chill on New Year's Eve celebrations. The National Weather Service said the mercury in New York City's Times Square was expected to drop to about 10 degrees Fahrenheit with a wind chill near zero during the final hours of 2017, testing the willpower of hundreds of thousands of New Year's Eve revelers. Meteorologist David Eastlak said in the Heartland next week could bring low temperatures last recorded 130 years ago. That includes a record low for the date of minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit for Tuesday. He said in a phone interview the bitter cold is going to be dangerous, warning residents of eastern Nebraska and western Iowa to avoid venturing outside or taking a car trip. He said the wind chills could approach minus 35 degrees Fahrenheit, a level when frostbite could set in within 10 minutes. Temperatures could drop to around zero as far south as the northern border of Oklahoma on New Year's Day and into minus 30s near the Canadian border on Sunday or Monday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following reports of a newly posted job listing at area marketing firm Swenson Digital, The Onion spoke to a few of the 1,400 applicants who claim they are, quote, absolutely perfect for this position.
When I first saw this opening, I knew it was right for me. I've got tons of experience. I've got all the skills they're looking for.
If you look at my resume, I've got everything they're looking for. I mean, I've held similar jobs like this in the past. I'm extremely driven. I really think this is going to work out.
I've got a BA in marketing, which the posting said was recommended, so I think that'll bode really well for me. I've had plenty of team experience, and I think that would stand out. Not to mention the fact that I'm great with
web design and HTML, and pretty proficient with Excel and PowerPoint. Also, I think the culture is
very me, you know. I think I'd fit in well with the other employees. I also think I had a great
resume and cover letter. I think as soon as they interview me, they'll see I'm the perfect candidate.
As of this video's release, Swenson Digital had extended a job offer to an applicant who happens to be a friend of the boss's son.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and a happy New Year's Eve to you. That's right, we're here. We're live in the studio, as we always are. And the we tonight is me, Ian.
And me, Johnny Ray.
Of course, you're invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype on into the show here and bring up what you want. You can talk about the year that was or the year ahead, whatever it is that is on your mind goes if you decide to get involved. And otherwise, we've got things to bring to the table, including more from economics in one lesson when we get a chance. Also, video gaming disorder. Johnny Ray, do you have it?
I've got it.
We're going to get into that coming up here. But since it is New Year's Eve, I mentioned this last night on the air, and we never got to it. The story about what is now being called an unprecedented level of security in New York City, security being the police state that has dropped down upon the New Year's Eve revelers who will be in, I think, record-setting cold temperatures. I mean, this is it's pretty cold up here in the Northeast right now. It's in the negatives here in New Hampshire as we're doing the show. I'm sure it'll be slightly warmer in New York, but not that much.
Yeah, I call days like we've been having the past week nostril crispers.
Yeah, it is chilly out there, and I was grateful to have a scarf on tonight. And if you're going to be out on New Year's Eve and you're in a cold place, it's going to be brutal. Not just the cold, but also potentially being brutalized by New York Police Department if you're in Times Square. The story from AM New York, amny.com. More cops, more bomb-sniffing dogs, and more police snipers than ever are being deployed by the New York Police Department for New Year's Eve to protect the 2 million spectators expected to cram Times Square to usher in 2018. Now, Johnny, have you ever had any kind of interest in attending something like Times Square New Year's Eve, even before it was a police state hell?
I mean, I guess not really.
Me neither. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, thinking about it now, I'm not against it. I do like to watch people. And, you know, you go to a place with a whole bunch of people, then you can do that. I like going to airports and grocery stores and just looking at the people.
This is different, though. I mean, it's so many people. You're literally, like, squished in. There's that many people.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm from the South, and when I see on the morning shows everybody outside the studios in the cold, that's never appealed to me because New York just seems like a cold, windy place and seems like record low temperatures tonight.
Doesn't sound like fun to me to go out there and stand in that and then watch a ball drop from,
and you got
from a height.
and you've got snipers on you, and all of your avenues of exit are cut off by sand-filled trucks.
New York Police Commissioner James O'Neill said counterterrorism planners are heeding lessons from recent terrorist attacks, including 3 in Manhattan since September of 2016. O'Neill said, quote, "People will be safe, and they should feel safe too." At 11 a.m. Sunday, crosstown traffic was shut down from 37th to 59th Streets and 6th to 8th Avenues, and the area was sealed off with concrete barriers, blocker cars, and sand-filled trucks, said Terrence Monahan, the New York Police Department's patrol chief. He said the department's also restricting trucks on those avenues to stop a suicide bomber from detonating an explosive like the one set off December 11th under the Port Authority bus terminal. Officers are searching celebrants twice when a person approaches the Times Square area and again at each designated gathering place, with specially trained dogs and metal detectors and by officers examining each reveler's bags. So not only do you have an incredible police presence just in general with just the number of officers, the snipers, the trucks, the cars, the whole thing, you're also having your privacy invaded if you plan to go to this particular area, which is ostensibly a public place. They have decided that you will be subject to not one, which in previous years I believe it had been one search when you had entered the area. So again, after September 11th, they started to crack down. I believe it was September 11th that really started the police state crackdown on Times Square. I think this is the first year they're doing 2 searches. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. That seems like an added level of police infringement upon your liberties. Going on here, to avert a Vegas-style sniper shooting from above, New York Police Department officers are being assigned to every hotel in the Times Square area. O'Neill hinted that guest rosters are being scrutinized, but he declined to elaborate.
Well, the police are in a tough situation, or the authorities, I should say. You know, personally, I think that socialized police is not the way forward for humanity. I think that we should just have private organizations. People can buy what they want to buy. But what we have now, the police, if they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't, because if something happens and they didn't do and they weren't able to stop it, then there's always something they could have done that would have tipped them off that something strange was happening. So they just have to go all in and surveil and regulate these crowds as much as they can, and just try to pick out a line that they shouldn't cross. I don't know how they go about doing that, but basically they just go all in.
They just keep on going. Right? Year after year, it continues to be new, unprecedented levels. So I'm sure last year was worse than the year prior to that, was worse than the year prior to that. And now they're using other attacks as their excuse for more police presence. Oh, well, somebody shot from a hotel window in Vegas, so now we got to bring in more spotters. We got to bring in more officers to be in the hotels, and that way we can say we're doing something about this.
Yeah. It's often when there is some kind of an incident of violence that happens, it's terrorism related, the authorities, it comes out, they they knew who this person was, and they had done some preliminary investigation of him because they have to, or they feel like they have to watch everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but what they do is they just get a superficial little bit of data about everybody, a very wide, shallow pool of data that doesn't help them as much, instead of being able to concentrate on real threats and devote maximum resources to somebody who's actually going to do something.
Right. And you got to remember that all of this is security theater. We've certainly seen the TSA testing themselves and failing miserably. Like 90% failure rates are not uncommon with their own tests of their own security agents. But beyond that, even if they were really good, and here they are saying they're going to search you twice, just in case they missed something the first time, they're going to search you again. Even if they have the most thorough searches, you got to remember, somebody who wants to cause destruction or cause terror, destroy lives, destroy property, that person, in my opinion, is not going to care whether or not they blow up the Times Square ball, whether they can make their way into the center of the crowd. I mean, obviously, if you can be at the center of things, that's more spectacular, I suppose, as far as the visual of what might happen in a horrifying kind of spectacular way. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's more present if they're in the center of it. But if they want to just terrorize people and do damage, all they'd have to do is set off their bomb at the checkpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole checkpoint thing is nothing more than an illusion of security, because where are the people backed up? At the checkpoint. Now, obviously, Times Square isn't your typical airport. It's even more packed than an airport would be as far as airport security. But if you want to, if a terrorist wanted to do damage at an airport, they could just set it off at the point of where they're getting checked.
Mm-hmm.
Just blow up the entire checkpoint, and then you've got everybody that's standing in line there as your potential victims, as well as all of the TSA agents. Same thing true in New York City. If somebody wants to set off a bomb, a checkpoint is not going to stop them from setting off a bomb. If they have decided they're going to kill themselves in order to, strike back at the U.S. federal government for what they've done in the Middle East, for instance, then it really is not going to be anything that gets in their way. They're going to follow through on their mission.
Sure, in the Middle East, they have security by checkpoint, and that's where it seems the majority of the bombs go off, is at security checkpoints.
Right.
The most dangerous thing you can be is a military policeman in the Middle East.
No doubt. The toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We'll continue more about the security state in New York tonight on New Year's Eve. It's Free Talk Live.
Thinking about getting into cryptocurrency but feel overwhelmed by the high price of Bitcoin? Or maybe you've used Bitcoin in the past, but were turned off by the high transaction fees and slow transfer times. It's time you looked into Dash. Dash is digital international money that you can send anywhere, anytime for less than a nickel. With Dash, your transactions can be instant and private. Dash offers a fully incentivized and decentralized peer-to-peer network where miners are rewarded for keeping the network fast, strong, and safe for its users. Start your journey at Dash.org. Since its launch in 2014, Dash has made a huge impact in the crypto world and is showing no signs of stopping. Check out Dash.org for more information about Dash and get in now on the future of cryptocurrency. Dash.org.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Cash. It's perfect for beginners, and the Bitcoin.com wallet makes using and holding Bitcoins easy. No logins are required. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll-free New Year's Eve. You can join us here. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. Feel free to reach out to us there if you like. I prefer it because it sounds better. It sounds more like you're sitting in the studio with us here. And the us tonight is Ian
and Johnny Ray.
Johnny Ray, thanks for coming in on New Year's Eve to join me here. Whole Food Multi-Complete. You need to know about it if let's be honest, you probably aren't eating as well as you should be. Over 60% of Americans take a nutritional supplement for that reason. Nutrient depletion of our soil, coupled with dependence on processed foods, has left most people deficient in those essential nutrients. But where do you start? If you visit a naturopath, you'll likely be told a cheap vitamin mineral supplement doesn't cut it. You'll also need probiotics, enzymes, antioxidants, and other nutrients. And by the time it's all said and done, you're buying 5 bottles of product and spending $150 per month. If that's a situation you've experienced, you need to know about Whole Food Multi-Complete. For 15 years, Whole Food Multi-Complete has been quietly providing what the big guys won't, the perfect blend of supplements in a single product. They've taken the expense and complexity out of following a complete supplement program. So visit simplifymysupplements.com to learn more, and you can use coupon code FTL like Free Talk Live to get 10% off your order every time you order. Your satisfaction is guaranteed, or your money back. It's simplifymysupplements.com with coupon code FTL like Free Talk Live. It's New Year's Eve. New York City, of course, is where a lot of people go. Millions are expected in Times Square. 2 million people expected to brave 10-degree temperatures with wind chills even colder tonight to stand around shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of other people and watch a ball drop from some sort of height.
It's a very nice ball.
It seems a little anticlimactic, but, everybody's got their thing. Whatever it is that floats your boat, if it's standing outside in below freezing temperatures, and that excites you, then God bless you. But to me, it would have been bad enough if all you had to do was go and stand in the cold to watch a ball drop. But now you have to go through 2 security searches in order to even get to where you're going to be standing in the cold. And add to that, plenty of police presence all around the Times Square area. According to a report over at Patch.com, in addition to the double searching that people are going to be receiving, they will also be passing by cops armed with long guns and bomb-sniffing dogs. They will not be allowed to bring large bags, coolers, or umbrellas inside. Now, as we were discussing earlier, all of this is security theater. If somebody wants to blow up the checkpoint, there's no stopping any madman from just walking up and setting off a bomb there, which will, accomplish the goal of causing terror and causing fear and extinguishing innocent human life. So it's nothing that they do can stop that. But searching people's bags can definitely find people with bags of marijuana or other drugs or alcohol, perhaps, underage. Sure. So I wonder, it would be interesting, Johnny Ray, to actually have like a Freedom of Information Act request. Somebody in New York would have to file this, but to file that with New York police just to see, what were the arrests that you made in Times Square on New Year's Eve between the hours of, whenever your searches began and whenever the searches ended? Because I suspect there's all kinds of victimless criminals that'll get picked up, as well as other victimless criminals who might just have a gun in their bag simply because they want to protect themselves, albeit illegally in New York, where, of course, New York City and New York State are some of the least friendly gun places out there. But just because somebody has a gun on them doesn't mean they intended to actually shoot somebody. That's just not the reason why everybody carries guns.
Mm-hmm. And, speaking about law enforcement carrying rifles around on the street, for all of you young listeners, I want you to know that was not really a sight that you saw not long ago. I grew up, I was a teenager in the 90s.
Yep.
And they didn't do that. And a few years ago, I went to the Philadelphia airport, and every 5 minutes I was passing a police officer with a flak jacket and an M16.
Really?
And there were several dogs in there. I don't think there was anything special happening on it. It was just that's how it is in Philadelphia these days.
That's scary stuff. And I don't know about you out there, dear listener, but to me, it doesn't make me feel safe. It doesn't make me feel secure. And that's what they want you to feel. They want you to feel like all these armed men around, these uniformed state agents, they're out there looking out for you. They're protecting you from the madmen. They're protecting you. They're the thin blue line between the evil in society and the good people. And I'm not saying that there aren't police out there who really do want to protect others. I think those cops exist. I've met them, and I believe that they're honest in what they say about why they got into policing. But I agree with your assessment earlier, Johnny Ray, that this situation that has developed with a centralized, one-size-fits-all bureaucracy of the police coming in to try to solve the problem of unpredictable violence, it's, you're like plugging holes in the dike. I don't know what the fairy tale was or where that story comes from, but the kid that's like plugging all the holes in the dike. You remember that story from way back when? What the hell was that?
Well, it's from, I assume it's from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Where
that sounds familiar.
It's kept from being flooded by these dikes. And so that's where the story came from.
Yeah.
And that's all I know.
Yeah, just like you can't possibly cover up all the holes. You can't just keep hiring cops, but it's not going to stop the problem. And the problem has to be stopped. If you want to stop, madmen from setting off bombs, for instance, then that's got to be solved at a much higher level. It's got to be solved at the source, which is, of course,
foreign policy.
Right, foreign policy. The reason why people are setting off bombs. I mean, yeah, it's certainly possible that without the U.S. government's foreign policy, that some madman could just want to set off a bomb in a group of people. That's certainly a possibility. It doesn't seem to be as probable, though, given that when you look at the situations with people setting off bombs, it almost always has to do with revenge for something the U.S. federal government has done.
Well, what it almost always has to do with is the FBI finding
That
someone
too.
who's a little mentally unstable and then putting ideas in their head and telling them that they'll provide them material support and meet here and we'll give you these briefcases and
Yes.
they'll tell you exactly what to do.
Every time.
Every
that
time.
happens. Every time.
Every
Hundreds.
time.
It's happened at least 200 times since 9/11. There have been that many of these incidents where the FBI has completely ginned up these people. But the people that they are ginning up to do these bombings, they wouldn't be able to motivate them to do them if the foreign policy wasn't what it was.
Well, what Will Griggs said was that the FBI, to recruit these guys, would have their informants, who maybe were guys at mosques, would recruit these guys with videos of dead people at weddings after the U.S. had just shot up a wedding. So they would show them pictures of the aftermath
own creation
of U.S. foreign policy to incite these people to acts of violence that they could capture them for and make themselves look good.
And now the police want you to believe that they're keeping you safe from these acts of violence. They say they don't expect the crowd to be any smaller this year, despite the frigid temperatures predicted. We'll tell you more about the police state that's coming down in Times Square here tonight. You can also take control of the airwaves. Plus, we got to talk about economics in one lesson on the way and video game addiction. This is Free Talk Live. You can join us here.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
It's the Onion Radio News. Raccoon leaders call for the loosening of garbage can lids. This is Doyle Redland reporting. In a 4 a.m. speech at the group's annual Washington, D.C. convention this morning, North American Raccoon Federation President Bristletail called upon homeowners to loosen the lids of their garbage cans, providing the ring-tailed mammals with greater access to discarded food scraps during nocturnal scavenging.
Every time you seal a standard 30-gallon garbage can, as many as 6 raccoons are forced to go without their necessary daily supply of congealed baked beans, rancid cottage cheese chunks, and moldy cantaloupe rinds.
The 26-pound varmint closed his speech with a stern warning that without raccoons, possums could take over the world. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees!
What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us right here, the toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. If you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, you ought to join Dash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy, fees are low, and transactions are quick and can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. I just paid for my hamburger tonight in Keene with Dash in real life. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. So join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today and find out more at Dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Once again, go to Dash.org and you can find out why. As we continue, Ian and Jonny Ray in the studio here tonight talking about the Times Square checkpoints and overall police state that has been brought down on the revelers there that are gathering, I'm sure, as we speak, preparing for tonight's ball droppage of the New Year's Eve celebrations that have been going on there for I don't know how many decades or 100 plus. I don't know how long they've been doing it there, but it's been my whole lifetime. I can tell you that.
No, I don't know either.
Yeah. And so, but now it's going to be even more securitized, or at least that's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that all of this police state apparatus is actually making you more safe. But as a guy who recently got swatted found out, it was, I think, Wichita was the headline. I heard a little bit about it tonight. From the group that we have. We've got a social meetup of libertarians in the area, and I haven't watched the video yet, but apparently cops shot to death a man who was at a house at which the police were called to, and the police were told something was happening that was violent there that wasn't actually happening. It's what they call swatting, where somebody calls in a false report in order to get the SWAT department or the SWAT team to come out and respond to something that doesn't actually exist. Of course, police didn't know that, though, and so they treated this man as though he were a potential criminal, and apparently the dude came down the stairs as the police ordered him to, but went to use the handrail in order to help himself down the stairs, and they thought that was him going for a gun, so they blasted him to death.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then, that's not an uncommon story these days. So I don't believe the claim that having a bunch of cops around actually makes things safer, especially when you have this issue where the police are trigger happy. Some of them are. I'm not saying all of them are, badge heavies, but these trigger happy cops, at some level, most of them know they're going to get away with it. All they have to say is either, I thought he had a gun, or I was in fear for my life. And pretty much either of those two statements, or both statements, are get-out-of-jail-free cards for any cop who shoots anybody.
Yeah, reaching for a handrail is pretty similar to reaching for your waistband.
That's all they had to say.
That's what we hear all the time.
Yep.
He was reaching for his waistband. That's what happened to Lavoy Finicum, I think.
Really?
Yeah. He got out of the car. He had his hands over his head, and then I think he was shot. And as his hands went down, he was shot,
they shot him again. Right. Well, he might have legitimately been going for his weapon at that point, having been shot at. But yeah, Lavoy Finicum was one of the guys who was involved in that Malheur Wildlife Refuge occupation that happened. Was that a couple of years ago now? Was it 2015? I feel like it was a couple of years ago at this point. Early 2015, maybe.
I don't know. My guess is 2016.
Maybe it was 2016. But anyway. They killed that guy, and they definitely, again, that's another situation where the cops, they show up to this remote place, and, even in that case, you've got even fewer witnesses than you would in a place like Times Square. But regardless, even with a bunch of witnesses, the police are generally immune from any kind of prosecution for what they'll just call a mistake. Oh, well, he wasn't going for a gun. Well, we didn't know that at the time.
Sure.
Our officers were afraid for their lives.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't believe the claim that having all these cops and bomb-sniffing dogs and snipers and all of this stuff is going to keep people more safe. It just makes people think, oh, well, the police, they're doing something to keep us safe from terror. I feel better. Let's go on here with more from Patch.com. Got to kind of cobble together a couple different sources here. So they're checking people twice this year. You'll be checked when you enter a certain area, just sort of in general, the Times Square region, and then you'll be checked again as you are trying to enter one of the areas in which you would then stand to watch the New Year's ball drop. Governor Andrew Cuomo has ordered the Port Authority and state police to beef up their presence at airports, bridges, tunnels, and rail and bus terminals with bag checks and heavily armed officers. The MTA will also be monitoring its security systems for any threats, said state officials. So is the idea that they think that it's more likely that somebody's going to attack on New Year's Eve here?
Yes.
Because if we're talking about, airports, bridges, tunnels, I mean, they can easily make the excuse that, oh, well, there's 2 million people in Times Square, so we need to have all this extra security. But every subway station, every, bridge, tunnel, the airports, these are not Times Square related areas, but they're beefing up the security there anyway. Well, if it's dangerous to have a group of people somewhere, a group of innocent people who could be blown up by a killer, then isn't it dangerous all times of the year? Isn't it dangerous 365 days out of the year? Why beef up security on just this one day?
Because there's a greater concentration of people and there's a greater concentration of cameras, which makes it a more attractive target for a terrorist attack.
But is there a greater concentration of people on a subway halfway across town from Times Square?
Yeah, on this particular night,
You
possibly.
think? I don't know, man. Not necessarily. I mean, if you go out, look, maybe New Year's Eve in New York City is different, but everywhere I've lived, if it's late on a New Year's Eve, most people are at their parties or wherever it is that they are. They're inside, or unless they're down south where it's warm or something like that. They're not. There's not a whole bunch of people driving around, especially as you get later on into the night. Everybody's pretty much in for the night unless they are out at a bar and then having to drive home. So you're at a greater risk if you're on the streets from being hit by a drunk driver, than anything else, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people stay home, because they know that it's amateur night, that a bunch of people are going to get S-faced drunk out there. And if you want to be hit by a drunk person, tonight's a great night to be out on the roads.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are aware of that, and that is one of the reasons why they go to where they're going to go and they stay there. They are going to wake up at that place where they are having their New Year's Eve celebration in a lot of cases.
Okay.
So I just don't buy it that, the subways across New York are going to be that much busier. Times Square, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people there. No doubt about that. But they're saying they're just beefing up security everywhere. NYPD is also stepping up police presence at transit hubs across the city, said officials. Cops will be on the lookout in the subways following Aked Ullah's December 11th attempted suicide bombing near the Times Square station. Police will roll out sand trucks and concrete blocks to protect side streets from cars in the hopes of preventing another attack like Saifullah Saipov's October 31st assault on the Hudson River Greenway that killed 8 people. Remember the guy that ran people down?
Yeah, there's been a lot of that.
The Islamic State terrorist group inspired both Saipov and Ullah. New York police emphasize there's no specific credible threat to the city or the New Year's Eve celebrations, despite the recent circulation of ISIS propaganda encouraging terrorists to target Times Square. Every police precinct in the city will get a tactical bulletin briefing cops on how to respond to a suicide bomber before and after a blast. Terrorists regard New York as that kind of place they want to disrupt, said the mayor, and New Yorkers respond consistently with strength and resiliency. Police will also be closing down the traffic between certain streets, and they will even be sealing off the 125 parking garages in the hopes that no one will bomb a parking garage or something.
Search me.
It's already hard enough to find parking in New York City, and they're just now they've decided to shut down every parking garage in the vicinity of Times Square, you're going to have to take a train in. You cannot possibly. I mean, it would have been crazy to try to park down there anyway, but it's not even a possibility now. More coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
People search the internet for everything, including you. With a few clicks, information from your past can be quickly discovered, from business deals gone wrong to misleading reviews, negative articles, and unflattering images. Studies show 78% of people search for someone online before doing business with them. Will they find the real you? With ReputationDefender.com, you can establish a positive internet presence. ReputationDefender.com pioneered the field with over a decade of experience, serving thousands of successful individuals and businesses. We use patented, award-winning systems to boost positive content and suppress negative material. Don't let the internet define you. Take control of your reputation today with ReputationDefender.com. For your quick, free reputation analysis, call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
Besides, we just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin, but imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free and bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And Skype on in at Skype username LRN.FM. Here with you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
Jonny Ray.
So we could talk about economics in one lesson. Also, video game disorder. Is that a real thing? Plus, Johnny Ray, you wanted to talk about cops dying?
Yeah, about the latest stats about how many of them are being killed every year.
Well, since we've been talking about the New York police, seems like an appropriate time to continue on in that particular theme. A lot of supporters of the police would like to have you believe that the police are in a particularly dangerous job. I mean, if you look at what's happening in New York City tonight with the crackdown, the searches, the insane police presence, and all of that, you would think that these cops are in danger every single day. And it's not to say that it isn't a risky career. Certainly, if you're, dealing with the criminal element, actual violent criminals, bad things can happen. There's no doubt about that. But is it as dangerous as some of the police apologists would want you to believe? And Johnny Ray, you're saying that it's pretty much safer than ever.
Well, from USA Today, the number of law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty dropped sharply in 2017, marking the second lowest toll in more than 50 years. As of Thursday, 128 officers have died in the line of duty this year, with 44 shot and killed.
Okay.
That's down 10% from 2016, when 143 officers died with 66 gunned down, according to data released by the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, a nonprofit aimed at honoring officers and improving safety. The only other year with fewer deaths in the past 5 decades was 2013.
Really?
When 116 officers were killed. And the story is, I've heard similar statistics, and it contravenes the narrative that there's a war on cops going on now.
Right.
And my own mother's belief that the world just gets more and more lethal
dangerous.
Every year. But violence actually is going down as the years roll by.
That's true.
Humankind seems to be becoming more and more civilized, which is why I've always had, I have a long-term, I'm optimistic. I'm very optimistic.
Got hope for the future.
Long term, yeah. Short term, you never know what's going to come around the corner.
That's true.
There's fears of war with North Korea in 2018, which certainly seems plausible to me. That could be bad. But the world is not, people, you need to take heart because the world is getting better every year.
Yep, I think that's absolutely true. If there were a war on cops, we would hear about cops being shot and attacked every single day. It would be increasing. But what you're saying is it's decreasing the amount of incidents. And I have to wonder, you said it was 44 or thereabouts were shot of the 120-something that have been killed this year?
That's right.
I do find myself wondering how many of those police shootings were drug war related, meaning, some undercover cop is doing an undercover sting operation and things go bad and gets shot, in the process of revealing that he's a cop. Or, how many of these situations are retaliation by drug gangs against the police or whatever circumstances the cops are chasing down somebody because of drugs and he shoots at them.
Sometimes cops get shot by other cops.
That can happen too, yeah. So it would be interesting to see the breakdown of those 40 killings and the rest of them, the other 60-some, or 80 killings. What were the circumstances of those? Because, sometimes cops... Now, was it police killed on duty, or does that include like a cop having a heart attack, behind the wheel of a cruiser and then ending up dying because he crashes the car?
Well, that happening would seem to fit within the parameters of these numbers. It just says, as of Thursday, 128 officers have died in the line of duty this year.
Yes, that would fit. Any cop who is on duty who dies would fall into that category.
Right, 128 so far this year.
That's why it's interesting to hear how many of them were gun-related, and it would also be further interesting to see the breakdown of how dangerous are we talking about? Because if it's half of them that just died of natural causes on duty just because they were overweight and had a heart attack, as many older cops are, then that would be even more revealing. But regardless, the numbers are down, and I think that's what's the most important factor here.
Right, and what the curiosity it brought up in my mind was for another statistic, that being how many people who aren't cops have been killed by the police this year.
The last year, it was over 1,000.
Yeah, it seems to be about in the neighborhood of 1,000 every year.
Recently, yeah.
However, those numbers, there's really not an official tally of that.
Yeah, I know somebody's keeping track, but officially, no. Certainly the government has no interest in keeping track of those numbers.
As of last year, with the controversy about the police. And the war on cops, alleged, the Washington, one of the Washington papers started investigating how many people are killed by cops every year. So they started keeping their own records.
Yep.
There's also a website, I think, called Fatal Encounters, that they have the highest estimate of how many people are killed by cops every year. But they do it just by going and looking at news accounts and going back through the archived media and getting those numbers. And they, at least at Fatal Encounters, it shows a remarkable increase in the number of people killed by cops
over time,
over the past few years. Like 10 years ago, their records show 300 or 400 people being killed.
Wow.
Now, I suspect that has something to do with the paucity of records, the lack of data that we have about this particular event.
It may also be, and it just from sort of a wider perspective, it might also be because of people who are less likely to become cops, like good people less likely to join the police because the pay's not that great and they are going to be hated by their peers. So younger people especially, a lot of them get kind of roped into these drug investigations and get arrested when they're younger, and they turn against the police because they've seen either the police harassing them personally or seen the police harassing and arresting their friends or family members. And I think the younger generations are more probably aware than some in the older generations, but that's not true. Certainly some older generation folks have been abused by the police as well. But, you see it's the younger ones that are being recruited to be cops. And so you see this kind of pushback against the mentality of the police, and that plays out into making it harder for departments to hire people who are good, qualified people that are going to be better cops and better neighbors than like the badge-heavy tough guy cop that wants to throw around their weight and actually hurt people as part of their job. You cut out the people who are the productive, good people who actually want to try to help by becoming a cop. Now, whether you can actually have any kind of influence as a cop is another question, but they don't know that before they get into it. If you're cutting out the better quality recruits and all you're getting are the badge heavies, the tough guys, the power mongers, the sickos, the sadists, those characters, then that could be another reason why you're seeing. I mean, that's more of a longer term explanation for why things are as bad as they are. And we had a former police trainer who used to listen to this show who had told us that, and this was a decade ago when he told us this, but he told us he was quitting doing the police training business, which he'd done for 15, 20 years or something like that. He was quitting because the quality of the recruits had gone down, like markedly down, that he could see over the years that he was a trainer, that when he quit at the very end, he was telling us that maybe 10 to 15% of the recruits were what he considered to be quality recruits. 10 to 15% of them. But he can't pass 10%, otherwise they're not going to be able to fill the positions that they need to fill.
Right, so he had to certify people that he didn't want to be police officers.
Yeah, he didn't think that they should have been. That's how bad it was a decade ago. So now maybe this all rolls in, right? You're seeing within the last decade those numbers of shootings going up. Well, that would be those very people that he was training back in the day who are now a decade's worth of experience into the police world, and they know that they're protected.
Sure, socialism pollutes everything that it gets into.
Sure does. And don't forget about the Puppy Side database. You were talking about a database of all the humans that have been killed by cops. There's a website called Puppy Side that tracks all the dogs and animals that have been murdered by the police as well. which there's no shortage of those stories either. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Join us here on New Year's Eve.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, December 31st, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.93 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,303 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 11.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $13,207. Antiwar.com reports Saturday saw a third night of growing public demonstrations in Iran, mostly centered in Tehran, but also erupting in cities across the country's west. The Iranian government has attempted to slow the rallies by announcing such gatherings as illegal and shutting down some mobile communications networks to try to limit organizers' abilities to inform their supporters. The protest began small as economic protest about the government's failure to come through on pledges of economic growth and more jobs. These grew and fairly quickly turned into hostility towards Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and the violent crackdowns on demonstrators have only added to the size of the protest. This has resulted in the largest anti-government protest in Iran since 2009, with protesters shouting "death to the dictator" and clashing with riot police. While not as large, there have also been reports of counter-protest at some universities expressing support for the government. At least 3 protesters were reported to have been killed in the course of the crackdowns on the rally. Exact figures on the deaths aren't totally clear, however, with some other reports suggesting an unspecified but substantial number of deaths. While the protests appear to be wholly about internal politics within Iran and the struggles with high inflation and unemployment, Israeli media was quick to try to portray it as an anti-Palestinian backlash by the Iranian public, since the protests began roughly at the same time as Iran's parliament issued a statement recognizing Jerusalem as the Palestinian capital. In reality, protests appear to be fueled largely by attempts to crack down on the smaller economic protests, which are not particularly uncommon in Iran, and warnings that protests are now illegal are only adding to the sense of defiance among the disaffected locals.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports Los Angeles police arrested a 25-year-old man after a hoax call known as swatting led to police killing a man in Wichita, Kansas. Tyler Barris of South Los Angeles was arrested Friday afternoon. He called police on a hoax after getting into a dispute with another player in connection with the Call of Duty online video game, according to Dexerto, an online news service focusing on gaming. Swatting is when someone makes a call to a police department with the false story of a crime in an attempt to draw a large number of police officers to a particular address. Police arrived at the home of Andrew Finch. As instructed, he put his hands up and moved slowly, but police fired a single shot in fear that Finch may have reached for a gun. Finch was unarmed and died at the hospital.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
Reuters reports bitterly cold weather will usher in the new year for much of the United States east of the Rocky Mountains, bringing low temperatures to the Midwest, making travel difficult and putting a chill on New Year's Eve celebrations. The National Weather Service said the mercury in New York City's Times Square was expected to drop to about 10 degrees Fahrenheit with a wind chill near zero during the final hours of 2017, testing the willpower of hundreds of thousands of New Year's Eve revelers. Meteorologist David Eastlack said in the Heartland next week could bring low temperatures last recorded 130 years ago. That includes a record low for the date of minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit for Tuesday. He said in a phone interview the bitter cold is going to be dangerous, warning residents of eastern Nebraska and western Iowa to avoid venturing outside or taking a car trip. He said the wind chills could approach minus 35 degrees Fahrenheit, a level when frostbite could set in within 10 minutes. Temperatures could drop to around zero as far south as the northern border of Oklahoma on New Year's Day and into minus 30s near the Canadian border on Sunday or Monday. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
We're being attacked by news from all sides in tonight's News Blitz. Now we're homing in on Houston, Texas, where NASA announced today that the crew of the International Space Station has successfully completed their 13-year mission studying man's ability to constantly repair a large object in space. NASA officials hailed the remarkable feat of maintenance at a press conference this afternoon.
And throughout human history, man has gazed at the stars and dreamed of fixing something up there. People once thought the ultimate feat in human repair was a really big boat. Today, we've accomplished so much more.
This comes in the wake of NASA's previous success, finding out how many times an astronaut could hold something in his hand, then let it go, watch it float in front of his face for a bit, then catch it again. All right, dust yourself off. You have survived the News Blitz.
Tune in tomorrow morning to Today Now. We'll look back at Jim's week as a polygamist.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and we are here for the live New Year's Eve edition of the program. As most people in the radio world are probably taking the night off, we're here in the studio. We'll take your calls about anything that you want to discuss. You can join us toll-free at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Still to come here tonight, we've got economics in one lesson. We've got to talk more about the savings chapter that we've broken up into a few different parts. You are certainly still welcome to comment on the police state, which is what we've discussed in the first hour of the show. But coming up here tonight, we've also got a story about video gaming disorder. Apparently that is going to be a new diagnosis in 2018, according to the World Health Organization. We'll tell you about that. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Jonny Ray.
Let's go to Ricky, however. He's calling from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania on Skype. Hello, Ricky.
I'm your huckleberry there, brother Ian.
Alrighty.
I get it. That is from Tombstone.
Gotcha.
Damn straight there, brother Jonny Ray. One of the greatest westerns ever made. Right up there with The Wild Bunch by Mr. Sam Peckinpah.
That's a good movie. There's no doubt about it. That's one of the things we'll agree on, Ricky. Now go ahead with what you were calling about.
Well, I want to make a quick announcement before I talk about law enforcement. I was going to leave this show, but I will tell you thanks to encouragement from an individual who has called into this show from the past, I've decided to stay on thanks to him. Thank you. Now, if I may talk about law enforcement.
You called in. Here we are. Go ahead. You don't have to ask permission.
Well, I try to be a gentleman here.
Well, I appreciate that, but we don't need all that. So just get to the point.
Well, here's the point. I've been around a while, and I've heard many things said about law enforcement, and I was just listening before I come on. And then I think of Ricky from the Commonwealth, And
yourself.
That's right. Because, let's see here, I'm an anti-federalist, I'm the Jeffersonian. In all honesty, I'm pretty damn hardcore. I don't waver on civil rights. I got 29 years of things to remind me about them. And you know what's really funny? The state didn't like me. They don't like me for a lot of reasons, And now they really hate me because I stand up against tyranny. And now I got authority, and I do those Ricky things you talk about.
I don't know what you're talking about there. All I know is last night and earlier this week, you were bragging about being a deputy. How is it that you're an enemy to the state and yet a deputy at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, I'm not employed by the state. And first of all, my oath is to the Commonwealth. No one else. It's not to the state, and it sure as hell ain't to the
oath that you refused to tell us last night what the oath was, or at least where the oath was sworn, or which bureaucracy swore you in. You refused to give that information.
Well, I could tell you this. As far as this goes, I will when it comes to what Brother Chris mentioned. I'm going to cover that on Thursday.
We don't know what we don't know what you're talking about. You have to understand, you're calling a show where not all of the hosts, and certainly the listeners, were not listening with rapt attention to everything that you said the last time you called in. So I don't remember what Chris talked about. You do. Jonny Ray wasn't there. So nobody here on this conversation has any idea what you're referring to.
Well, you should know, Brother Ian, because you just
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter whether I know. It doesn't matter. We're doing a radio show where people out there listening have to be in on the conversation. They have to know what is being discussed. And I don't know if it's purposefully, but you obscure anything of use from whatever the words that are coming out of your mouth. It's very hard to actually put together what it is you're referring to, because not everyone listening, in fact, probably no one listening, is on the same mind track as you. You're just sort of jumping around through thoughts in your mind, and words are spilling out of your mouth as though they mean something to you, and I'm sure they do mean something to you, but they don't mean much to the rest of us.
Well, I can tell you this, Ian. See, you said it yourself just now. See, that's what it comes down to. It's called principled. And the fact of the matter is, I have already heard come out of your mouth the request. Now,
What request?
The same one that Chris said last night. This is why you're a two-dimensional
request?
Oh, stop arguing.
Say something. Explain yourself. Your tongue's flapping, but no noise is coming out of your big mouth.
Actually, you make yourself sound like a two-dimensional jackass when you act like that. You are.
Nice kid, but a little dumb.
Yeah, there you go. Happy New Year there, Ricky. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Of course, you can bring up anything that you want, although it helps if we can actually understand what it is that you want to bring up.
Well, I want to know what Chris was talking about, Ian. I think it's incumbent upon you to tell all of us.
I don't have any clue, man.
Well, you acted very irresponsibly then by...
How is that irresponsible? What are you talking about?
Well, you harassed a loyal caller off the air. He was about to tell us something. You were castigating him for not getting to the point, but you wouldn't allow him to do so.
He can't get to the point. I gave him multiple opportunities. And he kept on referring to something that I told him we didn't know what he was referring to.
Well, I'll tell you what.
And he's acting like I knew, and I don't.
I did enjoy it when you made him so mad that he dropped out of character.
When was that?
When he started raising his voice and he dropped
Tonight?
the accent. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I've heard that happen a couple of times, and I always enjoy that.
Oh, thanks. I didn't even notice it.
He just loses his patience, and he drops the whole drawl altogether and just starts yelling.
Well, I'm glad you noticed that. So I appreciate the feedback. Toll-free number if you want to join us on the radio here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or you can Skype in. Our Skype username here is lrn.fm, and that allows you to bring up whatever you want to discuss. Video game addiction. It is a topic that we've talked about here on Free Talk Live over the years, because most of the hosts of this show we're Generation X range. I think we got maybe one or two millennial hosts as well. But Gen X, millennials, these are generations that are heavy, or were, maybe when they were growing up more so than now, but heavy video gamers. People who spend a significant portion of their free time and their income on the gaming hobby.
Yep. You and me, one of us at least, and maybe both of us have dropped a quarter in a machine in earnest to play Space Invaders.
Probably at some point in my life, yes.
Yeah.
Not recently, but let's go to your calls. We'll talk more about video gaming here in a moment. We've got Krister on the line. Krister, where are you calling from tonight on Skype? Krister going once. Krister going twice. Well, we have him there. The clock is ticking. We're going to put him on hold and see if we can clear up whatever that issue might be. Sometimes the issue is on our side. Most of the time, sound issues are on the caller side. If you're calling us on Skype, it is always best to call the Skype Echo Test service first and then do a quick call there and make sure that you're working, because sometimes I'll go to a call without screening it, like I just did right there, and I probably shouldn't, because a lot of the times something's wrong, and a simple call screening on my part would have ferreted that out prior to taking the call. But anyway, we'll try him back here in a little bit, see if we can clear that up. Bruce Y. Lee is writing over at Forbes.com. This headline popped up in a few different places recently, Johnny, about video games being labeled, or the overuse of them, being labeled a mental health disorder starting in 2018, according to the WHO, the World Health Organization. Not that I'm saying that, you should care what the WHO says, but they do bring up, I think, an issue that is going to strike true for a lot of people out there, and that is the question of, do you have a problem with your video game habits?
I do. I got to get it under control.
How bad is it, Johnny Ray?
Well, I spend hours a day, more than 1 hour. I spend multiples of hours a day playing a game.
Hearthstone.
That's the one.
And you've been playing that one for a few years now, at least, if not 3-4 years.
Yeah, it's what gets me is it's the way that it's a card game, and it's got this element of randomness to it, and I'm not that good at it, and losing just makes you want to play more. When you win all the time, you feel like you've beaten the game, and your taste for it, your appetite for it declines. When you lose a lot, you're always ready for more.
You want to strike back.
And the random element means it's always a little bit different, so you always feel correctly that you can win.
Never the same game twice.
That's not quite true with Hearthstone.
All right, we'll come back with more here in moments. 855-450-FREE. What about your video game addiction? Do you have one? Did you beat it? Are you seeking treatment? 855-450-FREE.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Thinking about getting into cryptocurrency? It's time you looked into Dash. Dash is digital money that you can use to send instant and private payments anywhere for pennies. Dash offers a decentralized network where miners are rewarded for keeping it strong and safe. Dash has made a huge impact in the crypto world. Start your journey. Check out dash.org for more information and get in now on the future of cryptocurrency. Dash.org.
You've heard of Bitcoin Cash, but did you know there's now a Bitcoin Cash wallet? The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Just dial in toll free to join us here at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. And in the studio tonight here on New Year's Eve, we are live. It's Ian.
And Jonny Ray.
And Happy New Year to you, whether you are in it already, as you might be if you live over in, say, Africa or Europe and such. But we're going to be hitting it here in a few hours, and it's great to be here live with you guys out there tonight. Whether you want to talk about some of the topics we've been discussing, whether it be the police state or what we're getting into now, video game addiction being listed as a disorder, according to the World Health Organization, a mental health disorder, you can join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, or you may Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM. By the way, I want to tell you about Zencash. Cryptocurrencies are pretty hot, but crypto is where it's at because of good technology. And the liberty-loving voluntarists, yeah, that's right, like real principled voluntarist types, founded Zencash in 2017. They took some of the best tech like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and they are creating a secure platform for money and messages that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. You can find out more at zencash.com. It's pretty early on in the whole Zencash thing. It just got started this year. So keep that in mind when you go and visit. The software is a little rough around some of the edges, but it's, like I said, it's real early. But I'm excited to actually have a cryptocurrency out there that's being put together by people who really care about freedom. At least that's the impression I got. They actually mentioned voluntarism in their white paper, so I think that's a good starting point, and they've got some great technology behind it. Zencash.com, that's Zencash.com. As we continue with your calls and thoughts here, we'll talk more about video game addiction, but first, Carl is in New Jersey listening to WPG in Atlantic City. Hello, Carl.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I think this is the third coldest New Year's Eve day, whatever, in history.
I heard it was the coldest.
Yeah.
I heard that this was the coldest, but I don't know.
I don't.
It probably depends
either,
on where you
cold.
are where the temperature is being taken.
Right, you're exactly right, and it's a full moon for New Year's. Is that how many times? I wonder how many times that it's been a full moon.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I didn't look that up.
Yeah,
But
it's a big one out there too. At least we're here in New Hampshire. The moon's a little larger than normal.
Yeah, but it's reflecting off the snow where I am.
So, Carl,
We got a little bit of snow.
what did you want to share with us tonight besides the weather report?
Well, how about this? I would certainly like some of that global warming, but I think it's nonsense. I mean, it's been colder way back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, before even they said this nonsense of global warming or climate change.
Well, yeah, remember, first they said it was global warming, then they changed the story to, no, wait, crap, it's colder now? It's climate change. The climate's going to change, and we're all at fault for it. I don't know, man. I feel like the climate kind of always changes, and humans just got to roll with the punches.
Right. Then one of you guys there's complaining and said your freedom's not enough and you want to move back to Florida where it's warmer?
No, I would never have said that. I mean, I would love to have New Hampshire be a warmer place, but I love the freedom here. I think that it's worth it to be a little chilly here and there than have to deal with an overarching, ever-increasing and worsening and violent state. Here in New Hampshire, we've actually got a chance of rolling the government back here. It's actually working to concentrate libertarian activism here. There are some people who chicken out, and move out, but not everybody moves because they don't want to do activism anymore. They've got their own journey that they're on, and for whatever reason it takes them elsewhere, which is fine.
Yeah, well, in New Jersey, with our new soon-to-be Democrat governor, I think it's going to the taxes are even going to get higher.
Sure, it's Jersey.
We'll pay more or we'll leave.
Well, we've had a bunch of libertarians move up here from Jersey. I mean, libertarians everywhere really ought to be considering making a move to New Hampshire. And it's not right for everybody. There was one guy who went out of here with sour grapes recently, which is unusual. Usually when people leave, they're going on to follow their own path in life. But this other guy who moved to the Keene area about a year ago, he made a big to-do about leaving and how terrible it is here and how it's a police state and all that nonsense. And it's just like, the New Hampshire has police, but at least the New Hampshire cops, to their credit, haven't killed any puppies or any dogs in the line of duty, according to the Puppyside website the last time I checked. So it's not as bad here.
And maybe a whole bunch of government employees and school teachers and all can move out of New Jersey where their pensions will go a lot further.
Yeah, I don't think you can expect Jersey to get any more free anytime soon. It's the number 46 least free state, I believe, according to the Freedom in the 50 States. And it is, it's not as bad as New York, but it's darn close. Right. Carl, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from...
And Happy New Year for both of you, or three.
Thank
you. Everybody in New Hampshire.
Happy New Year, Carl.
Thanks, Carl, for the call tonight. We appreciate hearing from you and appreciate hearing from everybody that has participated in the show. May 2018 hold a greater variety of callers to Free Talk Live. As much as we appreciate the people who do participate, it'd be nicer if we had more diverse voices on the show here. But the phones are open every night, and I can't control who calls in. So the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. As we continue here, gaming disorder.
Ian, I wanted to say one more thing about New Hampshire. You can feel it when you move here.
The freedom?
Yeah, you can feel it when you move here.
You sure? That's not just in your head?
I point to the neighborhood sandwich shops that are so prevalent around here.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a more of a spirit of entrepreneurship in New Hampshire. There's more mom and pop type places.
Yep.
Which is not really how it was in North Carolina. If you wanted to get a deli sandwich, you had to go to a grocery store, or a Subway, or if you were going to a gas station, it wasn't going to be. It wasn't going to have what you see here, these big spreads, these deli spreads in these little convenience shops,
mom and pop shops, neighborhood convenience stores in the heart of neighborhoods, not like on the outskirts as you're getting to the industrial areas,
right, or next to the highway on ramp,
but like literally between houses.
Yeah.
There'll be and you know what, Johnny Ray, there were more of them when we moved here. If you think back, there have actually been a couple of them that have closed down since you and I moved here like a decade back.
Okay.
But we still have them. They're still here. There's still a few of them, but I can think of at least. I know there's been at least two, but I can only think of one of them right now that has closed down. But there's not as many of them now as there once were.
Yeah,
but that is an indicator that like the regulation here is a little less than in other places.
And the people who live here and who grew up here, they don't feel it because they're not.
They take it for granted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not perfect in any way. You will still be taxed.
Yep.
It's
There's
live free or die.
There's
They
still
feel
bureaucrats.
it. People understand it. It's not perfect.
But we got, it's a good starting point to have a migration of libertarians come to this place. Let's talk more about gaming disorder. If you want to talk about New Hampshire too, that's totally fine. We like that topic. You can bring up anything you want as well here on the New Year's Eve edition of Free Talk Live.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body Brain and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
The easiest thing in the world for a reader to do is to stop reading, according to the late, great Barney Kilgore, who became managing editor of the Wall Street Journal in 1941 and grew the paper's circulation from 33,000 to 1 million by the 60s. And he'd be pleased to know that his paper is one of the few that people now pay to read online. Someone else pre-internet who realized that attention is fragile? Motown Records founder Berry Gordy. In the early 60s, when his label dominated the charts, he'd bring a dozen real people into the Hitsville, USA studios and audition songs. And he'd ask, if you were down to your last dollar, would you spend it on this record or would you buy a sandwich? Today, attention span seems like an oxymoron. For tips on cutting through the clutter, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio here and take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, so Skype on in here. It's Skype username LRN.FM. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Jonny Ray.
We're going to your phone calls and thoughts. You can bring up anything you want here on New Year's Eve, but also we still have to talk about video game addiction. Coming up here in 2018, the WHO saying this is a mental health disorder. But first, let's go to Christer calling from Sweden, and he's with us this time on Skype. Go ahead, Christer.
Happy 2018, guys.
Yes, it is New Year where you're calling from. What time is it there?
2:20 something.
2:20 in the morning. All right. Thanks for staying up for us.
So the fireworks are all ended now, so now I'm going to call and make a New Year's resolution because I've got into the little argument regarding the Swedish national television and radio broadcasting and production company, Swedish Radio. They have up until now always paid, gotten paid voluntarily. So you could actually say no, you don't want them, and you didn't have to pay anything.
Hold on. So the government run, what is it, like their equivalent of their BBC?
Yeah,
okay.
Equivalent to that.
So it was funded through listener or viewer contributions, and that was it, or like sponsorship dollars.
Yeah, by the radio radioavgiften. It's a fee, annual fee, and you pay something like, I can't remember, $250 or something like that.
Oh, like a tax on your audiovisual equipment?
No, not a tax, because it's a totally different invoice or what do you call it? You get in your mail, and it goes directly without passing the government or the tax.
So it was donated. It wasn't a tax. It was a donation. They were soliciting donations for their service.
Yes,
but not anymore.
It's not mandatory. It is still, of course, voluntarily.
Okay.
But if you have equipment at home and you're able to receive television broadcasts, it doesn't matter if you're not looking at TV. Those 4 channels we have, or 5 or whatever they are. If you're never looking at them, and you promise you're never looking at them, you still, as long as you have the equipment to receive those channels in your home, you are obliged to pay this fee. Now,
hold on. Wait a minute. I'm confused. Is it voluntary or is it an obligation?
It is an obligation to pay the fee as long as you have equipment, meaning a television set. But if you don't have a television set in your home, because what they do, they walk around. You can say, I don't want to pay the fee. I'm not looking at television. And you can come home to my house and have a look if you like. But if you don't let them inside your house, they're going to scan your apartment or house for signals, because they can actually do that and tell if you are looking at.
That is so
Swedish.
creepy. Now, we've heard about these creepy vans in, I think it was Great Britain, where they've been doing that. Now, I never knew that Sweden also had a system like this, where if you don't pay the TV tax in Britain, but yet you've got a television, they come after you. So it's the same thing?
It is the same. Now, they have been discussing to changing this.
In what way?
Because until now, I have been able to say, no, I promise, I don't have a television, I don't look at television, I'm not going to pay your $250 or whatever, $300 a year. Forget about it. And they don't bother me anymore. But what is become a proposal now is to move the voluntary fee from being a fee directly to the broadcast company. It is going to be a tax, mandatory tax for everyone. Household. Everyone's going to be
gross.
Forced to, yeah. So it's not gone through the legislation yet, but we're discussing it, and so this is a point where I want to come to, because it's a funny thing happened when I was talking, or when I was discussing on a forum about this change in behavior, because I try to point out that, okay, I never liked the previous model, but now it's going to get really dirty, because before we had the possibility to say no, thank you,
right.
Thank you, but thank you, yeah. Now we're not going to be able to do that. If we try, we're going to get jailed, or we're going to get punished in some way or another. And people have been saying, yeah, but that's okay. We have to pay taxes for a lot of things we don't like. Well, what about this? No big difference. And so I try to make it really, really basic. And somebody came up with, and I'm going to quote you. I'm not really actually going to quote you exactly, because this isn't. But this Oliver Wendell Holmes said the following, and I think he was a friend of. Let me see.
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. What is it that he said? What is it that you wanted to share?
I'm reading here. He did not have a curmudgeon's feelings about his own taxes. A secretary who exclaimed, "Don't you hate to pay taxes?" was rebuked with a hot response. "No, young fella, I like to pay taxes. With them, I buy civilization."
Ridiculous.
Yes, and now I found out that this is a kind of a pop phrase among the government-loving circles.
Yep, that's true. This is a claim that is frequently made. I remember doing anti-tax outreach activism down in Florida, for instance, and I would stand out in front of the post office on tax day and wave a honk if you hate taxes sign. Of course, I got a lot of honks. But every now and then somebody would come up to me after they'd gone in to pay their taxes in the post office, and they'd read me the Riot Act, man. They'd tell me how great taxes were because they were the price of civilization. So yeah, I've definitely heard that claim before.
Yeah, so I said in response, all right, so if I print a newspaper, no, forgive me. If I start to deliver 1 liter of milk to your doorstep every day, and I claim that it's good, healthy milk. You can choose from low fat, high fat, or medium fat, but you have to pay for the milk. Every day I'm going to ask for, whatever it costs. Do you think that's a civilized behavior? And they never answer no.
Right.
They never answer yes. They always, circle around the question and start talking about something else. And it's like nobody wants to touch the basic question.
They're protecting their belief system, right? So cognitive dissonance kicks in, and people, when their beliefs are challenged, they are going to shut down, or they're going to argue against. And in this case, it sounds like that they're shutting down. When people bring up this claim that taxes are the price of civilization, it's just this throwaway line that really isn't based on anything. I mean, the reason why people are civilized is because it benefits us to treat each other with respect and to reserve rights for one another and respect rights for one another. And the idea that government is civilization is contrary to what my understanding of civilization is. If we're acting civilized towards one another, it means we're not acting like beasts, right? We're not going to our lowest common order, attacking one another openly. But yet that's what government does. Government is a violent organization. They're brilliant about obscuring the violence from most people's view, but ultimately every government program is backed by some men with guns out there who are willing to come and use those guns on you, like we were talking about the police in the first hour. Krister, thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate the info. So to me, government is the antithesis of civilization. It is violence masquerading as though it is civilization. And it's not. We haven't gotten to that point yet as human beings to get rid of a violent monopoly like the state. Maybe, if we're lucky, we'll see that happen in our lifetimes, though. More coming up here at 8:55, 450 free. If you want to join us, 855-450-3733 here on Free Talk Live.
From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Free Talk Live.
I wanted to ask your listeners about the religion and the people who practice Wicca. What do they think their agenda is? Is it to take over the world? Or?
Oh, no. No, I don't think so.
I mean, because they're somewhat of bullies.
They're bullies? What do you mean?
They bully with the religion themselves. A lot of people are afraid of them.
Can you give me an example?
The Tea Party.
The Tea Party has to do with Wicca?
Well, it's mostly because they're so secretive.
So
the Wiccans.
The Wiccans are secretive and they have a lot of numbers, and they've infiltrated the Tea Party?
Well, they use them, like, for instance, the breakdown of Obamacare. That could very well have been the Wiccans using their power to break down the computers.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us on the radio here this New Year's Eve edition of the program. With you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnny Ray.
You can join us toll-free. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. And you can join us in real life at Anarchapulco coming up in 6 or so weeks from now, February 15th through the 18th. There will be probably hundreds of people gathering in Acapulco, Mexico at the Princess Resort. I did look at the picture of the Princess Resort. I did visit that location when we were at Acapulco or Anarchapulco earlier this year. This is a very, very nice resort on the beach. The resort that we were at earlier this year was not actually on the beach. So if you wanted to go to the beach, which, you know, some people are into that. If you wanted to go to the beach, you had to like get on a shuttle and then they drive you 20 minutes to get to the beach. So this new one that they're going to be having the event at, or this location called the Princess, is actually the beach location. It's a very, very nice place, and lots of people who care about freedom are going to be there. Some great speakers, including the one and only Ron Paul is going to be the headliner of the event, but also, no slouch, G. Edward Griffin. He'll be there. Jeffrey Tucker, Roger Veer, Larkin Rose, Jeff Berwick, Bruce Fenton, Brett Venant, Julia Taransky, Dana Martin, Juan Galt, Adam Kokesh, Kerry Wedler, Vit Yedlika, and Sterling Lujan, plus live music from Jordan Page, Backwards, Rob Hustle, and more. It's happening February 15th through the 18th, and you can get your discount tickets 10% off the regular ticket price by using code FTL, like Free Talk Live. That's code FTL to get 10% off over at anarchapulco.com, where they are making anarchy great again. It's anarchapulco.com, February 15th through the 18th at the Princess Resort in Acapulco, Mexico. Looking forward to being there. It was a great event this year. It was my first year in 2017. In 2018, I'm sure will be even better, so join us there. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. Chris is on the line in Missouri. Chris, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi, I stumbled across you because I normally listen to news talk anyway. But
all right. Welcome.
You guys are trying to herd chickens. And
really?
Because you guys are, it's the world that the nirvana that, yeah, I agree with about 90% of what you say.
All right.
It's just getting to that point when you have to deal with so many people with so many different mindsets. It's like trying to herd chickens. With the system we have set up now, like this last election, who am I going to vote for? I'm going, nah, okay. And then it's like there was no way I was voting for Hillary, so I voted for Trump. I had to go lesser of two evils.
Well, no, you don't. You don't have to. Didn't even have to vote, but you also could have chosen one of the third parties if you'd wanted to.
I vote, period, because I don't like extra taxes. Don't tell me you need a Ferrari when a Corolla will do.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? Don't ask for more than necessary.
Well, the government always asks for
money.
more than necessary. They don't ask either. The government demands. So
they take.
When you say,
trust me,
so when you say we're trying to herd chickens, what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, it's like the police are a necessary evil, and
that's a strange thing to say. Why would you need evil?
Well, a necessary evil is because you've got. For the most part, I don't believe. I live in a small town.
Okay.
But I spent 10 years in the Army. I've traveled all over. And I know that there are good people out there, but I know there's some very twisted people out there.
Yeah.
And
Some of them are cops.
Oh, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. You don't want to know what I think about cops for the most part. There's some really good cops and there's some really bad cops.
There are.
Okay?
That's true.
That's just the way it goes. You've got they're supposed to do psychological. They're supposed to pass a psychological exam before they're allowed to be cops. I think they need to do a better standard of testing. Because, like I said, it's like you've got the bullies and the judges are just as bad. They are.
Yeah. Well, this is what happens when you have a monopoly, right? So if you have a monopoly on a thing, usually you get bad customer service. Usually you get expensive products. Usually you get crappy quality. And so the government is a monopoly, and so of course it's going to act like one. It's a violent monopoly, so it's the worst form of monopoly.
That's why I'm saying you're hurting chickens, because you've got this many people, and you know it's a corrupt system, okay?
Yeah. So
knowing it's a corrupt system, to change it incrementally without just mass chaos, okay, and huge loss of life. I've raised 6 kids. We have this debate all the time. I'm of the firm mindset. I want you to talk to me and let me hear what you think. And I want a better world for them. And my kids, they work, they go to college, all that, because I got what I expected out of them because I was the meanest thing in my house. I set a standard, and they needed to, if I work 60, 70 hours a week, your job is to go to school.
Okay, I understand that,
What I'm saying is, with your government, to change this, okay? To change this government, you have to go through the judicial system, and then you got the elected officials.
No. What you have to do is you have to change people's minds. And you can't change everybody, obviously. So maybe that's what you mean by hurting chickens.
Well,
we can't expect everybody to agree on everything. The world would be boring, and that's not even a possibility for that to happen. But in order to change the government, you have to change what people want and believe. If people believe they need an overarching, monolithic, Orwellian police state, then that's what they're going to get. Until they're ready to try something different, until they're ready to believe in decentralization and believe in competition in the free marketplace, we're always going to have a violent monopoly. It is ultimately what is manifesting from the beliefs of people. I mean, they say that that people get the government they deserve, and to some extent there's some truth to that, even though some of us know better and we are against the idea of the state, against the idea of the violent monopoly of government. There aren't very many of us. But if we were to get enough people who believe those things together, then the government would disappear eventually because people wouldn't need it anymore. They wouldn't believe in it. They wouldn't give it legitimacy. They would start to see it as what it is, which is a criminal band of marauders and thieves and liars who should not be trusted, who should not be given any kind of attention, and certainly should not be given any money.
So basically you're talking about the whole world, open borders, no politics, and everybody in a free-flowing society.
Well, I mean, that sounds really nice to me, but if you want to have borders on your own property, that's your business. If you want to put up a fence or something.
No, what I'm saying is, okay, if without the government, how are you going to know it's your property?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think we could let the market decide what property.
Well, how are you going to go get the deed? How are you going to get the deed?
That's an excellent question. I think that we could see some sort of technology developed, like blockchain-based recordings. There already are title companies, by the way, who do title research when you purchase a house.
I bought my house, real title and the house and the insurance and all that comes with it. So my property comes out in this, it's you get longitude, latitude, and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is that without some kind of entity to, personally, I think corporations are just corrupt as government.
Governments are corporations, right?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, governments are
but what I'm
corporations,
saying
and the governments create the corporations, so of course the corporations are corrupt. Look, what you're
But, George,
talking about
there's a
here is a
big-
legitimate objection of how would property be handled in the absence of a violent coercive monopoly, and the best answer
yeah?
I have is, in the absence of a violent monopoly, whatever the market provides will be better. It will be cheaper,
Right.
it will be more efficient, it will probably be more accurate when it comes to discerning what is whose property and all of that. And it may even become immutable in the form of a blockchain technology that could store information like that. We don't know exactly what the world would look like in the absence of a violent monopoly, but you can rest assured that if people want something, and thank you, Chris, for the call. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. If people want something, in the marketplace, generally, it provides. The market provides the services and the things, the products that people want. Now, sometimes the marketplace isn't perfect. And nothing is perfect. Sometimes somebody thinks, oh, I've got this idea for this great product that I think people want. But it turns out there weren't enough people that wanted that thing, and so that product goes away. So sometimes the market, these actors in the marketplace, they misestimate demand and they misallocate their resources, and those things happen. But when those things happen, it's only that individual, it's only those investors who get punished. If the market says, no, actually, we don't need that widget, and, don't buy any of the widgets, then only the people who invested in the widget company lose out. The rest of the people don't, because they didn't have to buy it. Whereas with the government's violent monopoly, everyone has to pay whether or not they use the service. There's more coming up here in moments. You can take control of the airwaves at 855, 450, free like freedom.
ID Stronghold wallets are different. They may look the same on the outside. They're stylish, they'll hold your cards and cash, but they're hiding something great on the inside. No, there are no pyrotechnics, and it doesn't sing when you open it. But it does have magical powers. ID Stronghold wallets protect your critical information and identity from thieves standing right next to you. Protect your family this holiday season with affordable leather ID Stronghold wallets and purses. Anyone can buy a cheap RFID scanner online and snag your information just by walking past you. Contactless credit cards, debit cards, even your work ID badge. ID Stronghold was the first to pioneer RFID blocking technology over 12 years ago. Secure your identity and save 10% by using coupon code PRESENT for a limited time at idstronghold.com. That's coupon code PRESENT, also available at walmart.com, eBay, Amazon, or QVC. idstronghold.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, December 31st, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.93 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,303 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 11.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $13,207. Antiwar.com reports Saturday saw a third night of growing public demonstrations in Iran, mostly centered in Tehran, but also erupting in cities across the country's west. The Iranian government has attempted to slow the rallies by announcing such gatherings as illegal and shutting down some mobile communications networks to try to limit organizers' abilities to inform their supporters. The protest began small as economic protest about the government's failure to come through on pledges of economic growth and more jobs. These groups grew and fairly quickly turned into hostility towards Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and the violent crackdowns on demonstrators have only added to the size of the protest. This has resulted in the largest anti-government protest in Iran since 2009, with protesters shouting "death to the dictator" and clashing with riot police. While not as large, there have also been reports of counter-protests at some universities expressing support for the government. At least 3 protesters were reported to have been killed in the course of the crackdowns on the rally. Exact figures on the deaths aren't totally clear, however, with some other reports suggesting an unspecified but substantial number of deaths. While the protests appear to be wholly about internal politics within Iran and the struggles with high inflation and unemployment, Israeli media was quick to try to portray it as an anti-Palestinian backlash by the Iranian public, since the protest began roughly at the same time as Iran's parliament issued a statement recognizing Jerusalem as the Palestinian capital. In reality, protests appear to be fueled largely by attempts to crack down on the smaller economic protests, which are not particularly uncommon in Iran, and warnings that protests are now illegal are only adding to the sense of defiance among the disaffected locals.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports Los Angeles police arrested a 25-year-old man after a hoax call known as swatting led to police killing a man in Wichita, Kansas. Tyler Barris of South Los Angeles was arrested Friday afternoon. He called police on a hoax after getting into a dispute with another player in connection with the Call of Duty online video game, according to Dexerto, an online news service focusing on gaming. Swatting is when someone makes a call to a police department with the false story of a crime in an attempt to draw a large number of police officers to a particular address. Police arrived at the home of Andrew Finch. As instructed, he put his hands up and moved slowly, but police fired a single shot in fear that Finch may have reached for a gun. Finch was unarmed and died at the hospital.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
Reuters reports bitterly cold weather will usher in the new year for much of the United States east of the Rocky Mountains, bringing low temperatures to the Midwest, making travel difficult and putting a chill on New Year's Eve celebrations. The National Weather Service said the mercury in New York City's Times Square was expected to drop to about 10 degrees Fahrenheit with a wind chill near zero during the final hours of 2017, testing the willpower of hundreds of thousands of New Year's Eve revelers. Meteorologist David Eastlak said in the Heartland next week could bring low temperatures last recorded 130 years ago. That includes a record low for the date of minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit for Tuesday. He said in a phone interview the bitter cold is going to be dangerous, warning residents of eastern Nebraska and western Iowa to avoid venturing outside or taking a car trip. He said the wind chills could approach minus 35 degrees Fahrenheit, a level when frostbite could set in within 10 minutes. Temperatures could drop to around zero as far south as the northern border of Oklahoma on New Year's Day and into minus 30s near the Canadian border on Sunday or Monday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
In Baltimore, the streets have gotten safer thanks to the success of the new Permanent Daylight Initiative, which aims to prevent crime by illuminating the entire city 24 hours a day using high-powered floodlights.
It's just that it's so bright all the time, even in the rain.
City officials say there have been zero violent crime since the start of the program, except for one man who vandalized the light by throwing his body off a building into it. Now let's set our crosshairs on to Mountain View, California, where Gmail servers were down for nearly 2 hours today. In an online statement, the company said, "Tremble before Google. With the mere flip of a switch, we can bring you to your knees." After reestablishing service this afternoon, Google changed its logo and released a statement saying if not appeased with a 20% increase in Google Chrome downloads by the next vernal equinox, they will take back their generous gift unto mankind of colored conversation labeling. All right, you can take off your helmet. You have survived the News Blitz.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can join us here on the radio. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
And Jonny Ray.
You can bring up whatever you want, whether it be herding chickens or police state or video game addiction, which we scratched the surface of in the last hour, but we never really got into deeply.
Yeah, you need to get into that because I could be in trouble.
I do want to get into that, but we're going to your calls first here, as you may take control of the airwaves here. Ian and Jonny Ray in the studio. We're going to go first to Joe. He's calling from Cedar Hill, Missouri. Joe, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And it's not my intention to hijack your topic.
Oh no, that's actually, we have open phones, so you
Bitcoins.
can call in about anything.
So I have a brief observation and then a question.
Yeah.
And the observation is that consumers and not corporations truly control the marketplace if they would but just exert that collective power.
Mm-hmm.
They could do this by targeting certain industries for whatever reason. Let's just pick on Verizon, for example. If a significant number of people cancel their subscription to Verizon in protest of a policy, maybe AT&T and the NSA might be a better choice, but if they would target one of those and just simply cancel their subscriptions, there's no violence, there's no breaking of laws, but there's a tremendous message sent.
Yeah, absolutely.
By doing this, that consumers and not corporations truly have control, because after all, corporations are there to give us what we want.
Right. If they don't, they go out of business.
In what they sell, they'd cease to exist.
Unless, of course, the government swoops in with a bailout, as they did with some of the auto manufacturers and banks.
Or they simply mandate that a certain number of people have to be on AT&T, like somebody's care. But
sure. Yeah. Government monopolies.
Mr. Trump got in part where he is because he was in a drain swamp. Now,
how's that working out?
He alone can't drain the swamp. But with his bully bullet, or his Twitter.
Oh, man. You know what, Joe? Your phone call is going bad. I'm going to put you on hold for just a moment because I do want to make sure you have a chance to get your thoughts out. So hang on. We're going to see if we can get you into a better cell. And I'm not sure. I actually need to ask him what station he's listening to, because it says here he's listening on the radio there in Cedar Hill, and I don't offhand at least know which affiliate that would be for us. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE.
I think Joe's right that consumers really do have the power.
Yes.
But we're living in a world that is still a little bit in the uncivilized, and people will accept having a boot on their neck, and people will accept being told that they're required to pay 50% of their taxes every year.
At what point will they stop accepting it, though? I mean, I agree with you. People are particularly obedient. They don't want to be seen as civilly disobedient. They don't want to be seen as upsetting the apple cart. And that is partially probably why it's hard to find people to join in large-scale boycotts and protests. People don't want attention drawn to them. Of course, if they are in a large group, then it's less likely that they'll be singled out for what they're doing.
I think that what happens is that populations that are weak-minded, their country declines in power, and then they are defeated by another. I think that's what happens to them.
Is that going to happen these days, though? I mean, we don't exactly see a whole lot of are you talking about military defeat, or are you talking about like economic defeat?
I'm talking about economic defeat that turns into military defeat, but it doesn't have to. Economic defeat, essentially, and then, anything that comes after that is just icing on the cake.
If you want to join us here, you're welcome to jump into the conversation. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. But, I mean, he's certainly right, and we may be getting him back here in a moment. But Joe's right that, people who who can band together can have more of an effect on a company. If I tell Verizon, and I've moved around phone companies over the years a number of times, and usually it has to do with some sort of kind of crappy treatment by one company or another, and then I'm just sort of moving on to one of the other options. If I tell them on the way out the door, yeah, you guys treated me bad, this was a terrible experience, screw off, or whatever. Normally I don't act that way. I'm pretty kind even when companies aren't behaving in the best manner. But to let them know that I'm not happy as I'm leaving their service, they don't care. You're one of a million customers. You're ultimately nobody at that point. I mean, I happen to have a radio show I can go on and say, such and such company treated me like this. So, I mean, I have an unusual ability to kind of talk about an experience, a bad customer experience, and maybe have some sort of effect. But even then, if I'm walking out from Verizon after being treated poorly or something like that, I'm not going to try to pull that card on them. They don't care. They don't necessarily believe me, and I want to be treated like every other customer would be treated anyway. So, and anybody can get on and say, "Well, I'm going on my Twitter account and I'm going to let all my friends know that I had a bad experience." And if that happens often enough, those drips in the bucket may add up to something. But on a one-off, yeah, they might have a call, like one of their telephone agents, they have a script that they read, right? And a lot of corporations, if you call up and you say, Comcast, I am upset with the deal that you're giving me, and I am going to cancel your subscription, and I'm going with satellite. And, you tell that to them. Some companies have an account retention department. Like, oh, sir, hold on one moment. We're going to put you on with a manager. And then, somebody else comes on the line and says, look, Mr. Ray, I understand you're upset with the service.
Damn right.
That we've provided you. Can I ask you if we give you 20% off for the next year? Would that be enough to retain you as our customer?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty upset about this.
How about 25% off?
Okay, I'm sold.
All right. So they have that, because they know that a last-ditch offer of, all right, we're going to eat a little crow here. We're going to give you a better deal. If you'll stay on, we'll retain some percentage of people who are upset. But if there's enough people who can organize, they can have an effect. Of course, sometimes the marketplace bounces back with a boycott. So you might form a boycott saying, well, I don't like Chick-fil-A because they are, too Christian and they're anti-gay or they're homophobic or whatever. But then you might see what happened. Remember years ago, there was this boycott and then boycott where people were boycotting Chick-fil-A, but then a bunch of other people decided they were going to go to Chick-fil-A, and you literally had lines around the block in some cases for people to get in and get a chicken sandwich, which was crazy, right? Like the idea that these people who were countering the boycott were so into it that they, into this boycott, that they were willing to spend an inordinate amount of time going and patronizing that business. Because the average person, you see a line going out the door, you're going down the street.
Yeah.
And you're going to go eat somewhere else. So for somebody to actually want to stand in that line just so they can go and get, albeit a very tasty chicken sandwich, it ain't that good. It's not worth waiting a half an hour just to get up to the cash register level good.
Yeah, if you've got hardcore supporters, that I think man for man, that's more that's stronger than a hardcore hater.
Chick-fil-A came out ahead, I would guess, based on the visible reaction in that situation that happened. I don't know, what was it, a decade ago, several years, 7 or 8 years ago, or something like that, where. Remember that when that happened? You don't remember that? Oh, there was all this big hubbub about Chick-fil-A. They're like a Christian company. Now they have franchisees, but overall, arching all of it is the head company that is very Christian. That's why they don't open Sundays. And on some of the stuff in their store, they actually proclaim their beliefs. Like some of the posters or the bags that have the food in them, they'll let you know, and that kind of escalated into, I forget what it was that started it, but somebody was upset at how they were treated, or somebody who was gay. I'm sorry, I don't remember all the details, but somebody got upset about it. They had a boycott, and then this boycott came about, and it got propagated on talk radio, and there were all kinds of people going out to support Chick-fil-A. I don't support Chick-fil-A being biased or bigoted or anything like that, and Actually, the Nashua store ended up sponsoring the Gay Pride Fest, which was awesome.
She's happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite. Come to Dynovite for help. DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids,
flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa,
the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. 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 I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free here to bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733, as we launch into more of your calls and thoughts here on New Year's Eve's edition of Free Talk Live. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnny Ray.
Also, I do want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. Great place to go to learn the basics about the world's first and most successful cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com has the basics and more than that. They've got a great news site as well for those of you who want to get the latest news headlines about Bitcoin in the Bitcoin universe out there. And it is a deep, interesting, important universe. So here it is, the edge of 2017 in the Eastern time zone going into 2018. Now might be a good time to set a New Year's resolution to learn about cryptocurrency. And the best place to get started is Bitcoin.com. So let's go to your phone calls and thoughts here. Stefan is on the line in Ohio. Stefan, you're on Skype on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Two things. You
Yes,
were
sir.
talking about the possibility of video game addiction. Well, I received a gift over Christmas, which I think I should recommend to you if you're a retro gamer to feed that video game addiction. It's called the Super Retrocade.
Oh, what's that?
It's a classic system, kind of like how Nintendo brought out their own. Well, this one is similar to that, except it has Nintendo games, arcade games, Game Boy games, and it has just so many of them. I've been messing with it over the past couple of days, and it is absolutely wonderful. You would
What
not
are your
believe.
favorite titles?
Strider is the one I play the most. It's got Burger Time, Final Fight, the Mega Man games, Mega Man 2 and 3, Mighty Final Fight. It's just got so many hidden gems that you just don't find anywhere else, and it's absolutely fantastic.
So this is one of those, I'm looking at it online, it's one of those ones with the pre-programmed games into it. It doesn't have the ability to pop like an old NES cartridge into the actual unit.
No, but it has such a large variety that you could probably just keep this thing kicking around and just play any random game because there's just so many different titles on it. I was amazed with just how good it was. I just couldn't believe it. They just got them in stock at a local game store of mine, and I've been chemically addicted to it.
Now, don't you work at the game store?
Yes.
Got it. Now, there's a bunch of these things out there. I mean, as you mentioned, Nintendo came out with the official version of the NES Classic, I think they called it last year, and then this year they came out with the Super NES Classic.
Yeah, those were the two big ones.
And this is sort of the same concept where Nintendo takes their old titles and they pick a few dozen of them and they put it into a memory cart basically inside an emulator that they then put a nice package around it, and they make it look like a tiny version of the old NES. You remember from the 1980s where everybody had to open up that side door and you pop the cartridge in, and then of course you had to blow on the cartridge because half the time it never worked. So it looks just like that, but it's smaller. It's just like a tiny little USB version of that, which is obviously very, very cute. And for those of us,
looks amazing.
Yeah, for those of us, but the thing is, Nintendo didn't make enough of them, and so they sort of artificially created a shortage. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if they just totally misjudged what the demand would be for these things, but they got snapped up off the shelves in like an instant. I mean, you can probably speak to that, right? You were working at a video game store when these things hit.
Oh, yeah, and the thing is, it's not that the stores didn't want to carry more, they just weren't allowed to. When they would order shipments from them from Nintendo, they just wouldn't get that many of them. You could only get 5 to 10 at a time, and with that many, people would come in and try to buy like 4 or 5 at a time. They'd keep one and then they'd sell the rest
on eBay or whatever, right?
Yeah, and it's funny you bring up the old Nintendo console, because nowadays I wouldn't even recommend you buy one of the old ones. I mean,
why would you?
There's a system I have right here called the Retron HD. Obviously, the viewers can't see it, nor can you, but it's a system that plays the old Nintendo cartridges, but it displays it in HDMI.
Yeah. Now those are cool for the old collectors out there, because not only do they have them for like Nintendo, but they've got them for Super Nintendo. In fact, some of them have multiple game systems built into the same system. So
Retron 5.
Yeah, that's one of them. So have you seen this, Johnny Ray, where I've seen it on, there's the Pat the NES Punk channel on YouTube. They talk about these things a lot, where you can actually put in an NES cartridge or a Super NES cartridge or a Genesis cartridge or like a whatever else cartridge, Sega Master System. They literally
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, it's crazy. They literally have a half a dozen different game systems all sandwiched into one. Now they're just running emulators in there, right? That's what's inside the package, and so it may not be perfect for every single game, but it probably works most of the time.
This Retron HD I have, obviously the listeners won't be able to see it, but if you can see it, this runs
I'm not watching your video, but go ahead and tell us what you need to.
Basically, this doesn't run emulation. This is actually has what's called an FPGA inside, which basically simulates hardware. So,
well, how's that different?
Well, because it's not running emulation.
You're
it's
emulating
not using
hardware.
Well,
that's what emulation does.
It works a little bit differently than that. When you're using an emulator on the computer, you don't have a physical CPU in there that's identical to the one from the NES. This actually has some hardware from the NES. It's just reproduced.
Really?
So,
yeah.
So a lot of people have been working with these. A lot of hobbyists do.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. You gotta love the. I mean, I hardly play video games these days, but I love them, and they've always been a part of my life from back when I was a kid. I grew up in the 1980s, and it's really interesting to see that now here we are, Jonny Ray. We're in our mid to late 30s. And we lived through these great gaming times, the evolution of the popularization of the video game industries and the classic conflicts between before it was PlayStation and Xbox, it was Sega and Nintendo, right? Mm-hmm. It was Sega versus Nintendo, and Sega. Yeah, and when we were growing up, everybody had their favorite. They would have been a Sega fan or a Nintendo fan. And now those same people who would have been teenagers or whatever during those time frames, they're in their 30s and 40s. Some of them are in their 50s, and these are the people that are now putting their money and investing into these game companies, which are kind of keeping all these old games alive, where now you don't have to go and find an old cartridge at some flea market or pay top dollar for one of these game cartridges on eBay, because somebody's got a digital copy of the thing out there, and there's a box that you can just plug into a TV with a controller that may or may not be quality. Some of the issues that I've heard that these systems have is they kind of cheap out on some of the parts that they use. So
some of them.
Yeah, your mileage may vary. I don't know which ones are the best ones out there, but there's
Normally the ones that you'll find like generic on eBay, a lot of those clone systems that you'll get from like China, they tend to be extremely low quality.
Too chintzy.
Yeah, not only that, but they just don't function all that well. One more thing I'm going to add in here, just a little off topic, is my New Year's resolution. 2018 is going to be a pretty big year for me.
Good.
Because I'm hoping to win the Libertarian Party nomination for the gubernatorial race here.
Well, you think big, and it takes people that have big vision to be able to make change in the world. So I wish you the best, and thanks for calling to share the interesting video game news. I still love gaming. I love the idea of it. I just don't dedicate as much time to it as I might like to. Unlike you, Jonny Ray, you apparently dedicate too much time to video gaming.
I confess, unfortunately, it's true.
Is it a mental health disorder? We'll talk about it coming up.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNLoans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNLoans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNLoans.com. That's GCNLoans.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually.
Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Really
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're
Democrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free. Join us here. Bring up whatever you want. The New Year's Eve edition of the program. Video gaming. Is it a disorder if you play too much? That's what the World Health Organization is claiming here. We're going to tell you more about that. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Jonny Ray.
And as always, you can bring up anything that's on your mind. I do want to let you know about Blink. It is a home security system, and it's really affordable. You can get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys might charge you for 1 security camera, and they're wireless. So the setup is as easy as it could possibly be. And I'm saying that as somebody who has been involved in installing wired camera systems. I don't want to do it. I hire people for that crap. I don't want to have to be drilling holes and running wires through walls and all that. It's a huge hassle. So you go with the Blink home security system, and you can just forget about all the hassle, because here you open the box, pop the batteries in, and set up the cameras. You plug in 1 wire, which is the power for the hub the cameras communicate with. It's all done Wi-Fi setup. You use your tablet or smartphone to get this thing rolling, to get all the cameras individually set up on the system, and it's literally done within moments of having opened the package. You go to blinkprotect.com/FTL. You'll get your Blink cams there. And again, that's blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Video gaming disorder. According to Forbes.com, it's not a gaming disorder, or the name of a game, and when it isn't, and it isn't when your yes or start button on your PlayStation controller fails to work, or your character is really messy and leaves equipment all over the screen, or you're surrounded by microwave burritos while playing. Instead, the beta draft of the WHO's forthcoming 11th update of the International Classification of Diseases now includes gaming disorder with the following description. Quote, gaming disorder is characterized by a pattern of persistent or recurring gaming behavior, which may be online or offline, manifested by 1. Impaired control over gaming, e.g. onset, frequency, intensity, duration, termination, context, meaning that you have a tough time putting down the video game controller.
Check.
Number 2, increasing priority given to gaming to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other life interests and daily activities.
Check.
Now, Johnny Ray, I'm going to ask you about that one because you are a productive man. You have a job. You are a janitor by trade. You're a hardworking guy. You work in the overnight hours in a lot of cases. It seems to me like your video gaming is in your off time. Has it resulted in you losing a job? Has it resulted in you being late for work, being reprimanded by the boss for missing a day of work, or being late because you just couldn't put down Hearthstone and you had to have another game or something like that? Because to me, that's when you've crossed that line. Why would you say check to that one? From the outside, it looks like you're making it to work on time and you've got this under control.
Because my priorities are misplaced. Because I haven't lost a job.
Okay.
Because of it.
That's good.
But I know that I have been unable to stop. I have told myself,
in the instant, in the time at which you're playing the game, you know you need to be at work at a certain time, but you'll go further than you feel like you should, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm fairly independent in the times I begin and end work. My job is more task oriented, so if I get it, if I do the job, I don't have to do it at a certain time of the day.
As long as it gets done.
Yeah.
Before a certain, I imagine there's a certain deadline when it needs to be done by, but you can sort of start whenever within that time range.
Yeah, and there are varying levels of quality that I achieve, and if I work longer at it and spend more time at it, then I can do. Then the work I do is worlds better than otherwise.
You're more proud of your work.
Yeah,
if you spend more time.
Yeah, I get into the corners. I remove all the fingerprints from the elevator and I make it gleam when I'm done.
It's a beautiful thing.
Sure, and there's but for example, this past month in Hearthstone, they released an expansion called Kobolds and Catacombs.
Okay,
and it has a very, very prominent player versus environment mode. Which all the expansions have some form of it, but this one is really involved. It's very different. The deck, the cards that you have collected over the course of your Hearthstone
deck building game
career, are not relevant in this particular mode. So everybody is equal going into it.
Okay, that's handy.
Yep, and that's very tempting for anyone who feels like the grind of collecting all the cards and
you're at a disadvantage because if you don't in a lot of games, if you don't play as much as, let's say, the 15-year-old guy who has no job and nothing else to do.
Yep.
You just can't match those people in many cases.
Yeah.
Especially if they've just got the hours and hours to pour into, and not just hours, but some cases disposable income. Because some of these games you can buy your way to more success or better cards simply by loading up with real dollars and purchasing in-game booster packs and things like that.
So what has happened a few times this month is I'll be in the middle of a dungeon run because I'm trying to complete it with every class. There's 9 classes, and if you complete it with every class, you get a special card back.
Ooh.
And so I'll be in the middle of a run, and I look at the clock, and it's getting on, and I need to get to work and do stuff that I need to do so that I can see my girl in the evening, and so she won't be angry with me, and I'll tell myself, all right, this is it. This is the last dungeon run of the day. You're gonna do this, and regardless of how well or badly you fare, this is gonna be it. And then I'll lose the next game, and I'll just pretend I didn't say that and start over again. And it's like I've got an angel and a devil.
I know, man. I know what you mean. Like for me, it's kind of similar because, I don't have a job to go to, but I have responsibilities. An unending level of responsibilities. And if I get into a game, I will play it like a crack addict and will continually stay up till 6 a.m. or something ridiculous. As the sun's coming up, it's like, oh, maybe I should be going to sleep now, because normally I have to do things that are productive in the morning hours for like calling radio stations or something like that. But if you stay up that late, you ain't getting up in 4 hours. You're not going to be any good if you are. So I've seen that that affects me in those certain cases, but in those cases, I'm almost always playing a single-player game. And so once I get through the single-player campaign, it's over. And then I can go back to being more productive at that point in time. Whereas Hearthstone, it's an online, it never ends. You can play it as much as you want. There's always somebody else out there who is looking for a matchup, and it's got to be very, very tempting. But the same thing happens to me where it's like, all right, I'm going to, beat this mission, and then I'm going to bed. And then the same exact thing. Oh, what's one more?
Yeah. So the reason that I say it is I feel like I feel like I don't have control because I will tell myself this is it, but then it's not it.
That is a sign of an addiction, right?
It is.
In that case.
That's what they say.
But luckily, you do have a girlfriend still, so it hasn't gotten to the point where the girlfriend has left you and you've lost your job, because those are the red alert signs, right? That you've gone to, you are way too much of a video game addict. You just lost your job because you've been showing up too late. Or your girlfriend just walked out and she's not coming back because you won't pay attention to her. So these are things that have happened. We've read stories about people. Let me get on to point number 3 here. This is in their definitions of what defines what they're calling a video game disorder. Number 3, continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. So you've started to notice that bad things are happening to you, and you keep going. You're getting deeper into it. You lose the job, and instead of going out to find another job, you play even more games. Or, you have a fight with your significant other, and you go and play more games rather than trying to, rectify whatever the situation was that caused that. Let's talk more about it coming up here in moments. If you want to join the discussion, you're welcome to. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. On this New Year's Eve edition of Free Talk Live, and maybe a New Year's resolution is in the cards for some of you out there that are addicted to not just video games, but other addictions that may be causing you harm in your life or in your body. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck, or back, or shoulder. Long-distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body. Why take another pill? Treat your aches and pains with Sunshine Pillows. Microwavable heat wraps, heatable neck pillows, and extra-large body heating wraps. Sunshine Pillows and wraps are designed better for perfect support where and when you need it, even while driving. Sunshine Pillows are designed with your comfort in mind, will not burn you, and will stay balanced on your body to provide soothing hot or cold therapy to treat temporary or chronic pain. And the best part, Sunshine Pillows start at just $20. Join hundreds of our happy customers and see why Sunshine Pillows has a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. Click sunshine-pillows.com and take the Sunshine Pillow Challenge. That's sunshine-pillows.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We're talking about video game addiction, which is probably going to sound similar to other addictions in that, how do you know you have it? Well, it's when the rest of your life is suffering because of your habit. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Jonny Ray.
In the final segment of the final episode of 2017, we appreciate you guys being here throughout the year with us. And, of course, we're going to continue doing Free Talk Live every single day. So we're glad that you're sticking with us, and we appreciate your participation and support of the show, like via the AMP program over at amp.freetalklive.com. If you have not become a Free Talk Live amplifier, please do consider joining the AMP program here in 2018 to help us in our mission of spreading the ideas of liberty, peace, and cryptocurrency all around the globe. You can help us do that for $5 a month over at amp.freetalklive.com. You get signed up there, and Free Talk Live is able to do that. We're able to get on more great radio stations. I think we're going to be announcing a new station coming up here within the next week or two. A big one, actually. I can't say where, but it's going to be in a pretty decent-sized market. So I'm excited about that, and it's a big signal, too. Anyway, you can help us do that by becoming an amplifier and getting access to some of the cool perks that we offer, like the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, which doesn't have the regular commercials that our normal podcast does, as well as the AMP-only Facebook group. You can get a special badge for your profile on the Free Talk Live forum if you're an amplifier. So please join the AMP program with any major credit card, PayPal. It's up to you how you join. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. We're talking about video gaming disorder. I was on point number 3. So point 1, these are some of the characterizations that you might be suffering from a persistent or recurrent gaming behavior, video game addiction, basically. Number 1, impaired control over gaming, meaning that your onset, frequency, intensity, duration, termination, context are increasing. 2, increasing priority given to gaming to the extent that it takes precedence over other life interests and daily activities. And 3, continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. They say further here, this is from the World Health Organization, quote, "The behavior pattern is of sufficient severity to result in significant impairment in personal, family, social, educational, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. The pattern of gaming behavior may be continuous or episodic and recurrent. The gaming behavior and other features are normally evident over a period of at least 12 months in order for a diagnosis to be assigned, although the required duration may be shortened if all diagnostic requirements are met and the symptoms are severe." Let's go to Ron. He's in Indianapolis. Ron, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Jonny Ray. Hey there.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's on your mind?
Good, yeah, just thinking about that, the deprivation of sleep as far as gaming goes. I haven't missed work, but, definitely played until I had to go to work and missed about a night of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other one you guys were talking about was the girlfriend. And, I mean, technically, if she's playing the video games with you, she probably have all the conversations she wanted. So I don't know if that's a negativity or not.
If you've got a gamer girlfriend, that's a pretty nice thing to have. That would imagine would help mitigate any kind of relationship issues that might come up, because she's probably as much of a gamer as you are in that case, if not more so. And that is something that we see more often these days than we did, let's say, in the late 90s or early aughts when we were becoming of age. But regardless, then the two of you may actually have a problem together at that point, right? Like if you guys are both playing video games together, that may not break up your relationship, but it may still lead to problems at the workplace for one or both of you.
Yeah, that is a possibility as well, I guess you could say.
Yeah, sort of like in the same way if you are, you and your girlfriend are addicted to methamphetamine, that could also bring some problems into maybe not directly into the relationship, but certainly it could, but also external issues.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hey,
I also saw that World Health Organization, they just said that the marijuana does have medical benefits as well.
Did they?
So you guys, that's where you're getting that from.
Oh, interesting.
So I saw that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give World Health Organization any special stock or anything like that. I mean, I don't respect them or anything like that. But they ultimately, I think they're right. Gaming can absolutely be an addiction. Many of us have experienced it, and some people have experienced losing significant others and losing jobs and things like that. And then, as point number 3 points out here, still going. When you have a negative consequence from your addiction, in this case video gaming, and you continue to persist and continue to make things worse, that's when you should know that you've got a problem, but it might be the time when you need help because you may be beyond the point of being able to help yourself. Ron, was there anything else you wanted to share tonight?
No, that's all I wanted. Thanks.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate hearing from you. Being in the ICD-11, according to Forbes.com, will mean that it will officially become a health condition, a diagnosis that can be used by doctors, other healthcare workers, and insurance companies. Some may even call it a label. And before you get too madden about this, keep in mind that this is not saying that playing video games is a mental disorder. Plenty of well-adjusted individuals play video games, and depending on the game and when, how often, how long, why, and where you play it, video games can be a safe way of improving hand-eye coordination, enhancing problem-solving abilities, relieving stress, connecting people, and living out fantasies, as covered by Daphne Bavier, a professor at the University of Geneva. In fact, I described previously on Forbes, the author here, increasingly video games are being developed and used for healthcare and to help people. So, of course, like with a lot of things in life, technology is one of those things which is a double-edged sword. The internet is a wonderful, beautiful, hilarious place with an incredible wealth of knowledge and information at our fingertips, but it's also a very dark and dangerous place. You could be hacked. There are scams. There's bad content, violent content out there on the internet, and things that probably people shouldn't watch, but they can. So there's always that dark side to technology, and that's what he's saying here about video games. Is it can be something that enhances your life. It can be a wonderful leisure time activity for you, or maybe even be helpful in certain ways. But going too far with it, like with anything in excess, can be a problem. He does say that, therefore, classifying an activity as a mental health condition is all about context. Using a plunger on a clogged toilet is a fairly normal activity. Using a toilet plunger on your boss's head, not so normal. Key phrases in the gaming disorder description are impaired control over gaming and takes precedence over other life interests and daily activities. Practically any activity, even those seemingly good and necessary, can become mental health issues when you no longer can control that activity and it starts interfering with your life. So why then specify video games when any activity can be done in excess? The new ICD-11 classification is a reflection of how common video gaming and, in turn, video game addiction have become. A study published in 2009 in Psychological Science found that about 8.5% of American youth from age 8 to 18 exhibited pathological video game use. Video gaming was affecting important parts of their lives, such as school performance. But if you think that video game addiction is mainly an issue for kids, hit the reset button. As reported in 2009, the average video gamer is a 35-year-old man.
I think video games are more dangerous now than they were before, because I think
More addictive?
Yeah, more addictive, because the video game developers and the people who are creating all the content, they know how to suck you in.
They know the triggers.
The tech has been slowly and been steadily advancing through the years.
They've combined the tech with like psychological technology as well, knowledge of how the mind works and what it is that's attractive to people to want to do in these games, and they program them in a way that not only sucks you in, but makes you more likely to want to buy the bonus pack or the add-on, the downloadable content, to of course help the companies monetize their efforts.
Did you hear about the rats that were deprived of food, and they prior to being deprived of food, they gained access to it a little bit differently? And what I mean is, there were some rats, if they pushed a pedal, they would get a food pellet.
Mm-hmm.
And there were other rats, every second time they pushed the pedal, they would get a food pellet.
Right.
Maybe some other iterations of that. To the rats who their pellet dispensing was totally random.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have any set relationship with the number of times that they pushed the pedal. So it was totally random. And when the food was deprived, the rats who got their food randomly, they never stopped pushing the pedal until they died. And that's me in Hearthstone.
Oh, well, I hope that we get to see you again next week, Johnny Ray, and that you don't die on playing Hearthstone from, starvation.
Thank you.
Having not gotten up to feed yourself between now and then. Enjoy that expansion pack, and thanks for being here through New Year's Eve with me. We'll see you tomorrow online. In the meantime, for those of you on LRN.FM, stay tuned for a live edition of Call to Freedom coming up. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit Move.